Greetings to all the jury members in the panel. I am Yamini from Mysore School of Architecture. Today I'll be presenting my thesis on Metropolis of Aquaponics. I started my thesis with the concern about the villages that are on the periphery of a city which are being encroached by rapid urbanization, which is forcing the people to move away from their lifestyle. This change in lifestyle of the people is eventually uprooting them from the traditions and cultures of a particular city. The aim of my project was to design a modular setting for a village, reviving the culture, ecology, lifestyle of people, thereby creating an awareness about ecology and encouraging activities that preserve it. A typical village setting for my project was a village on the periphery of the city. The villagers who have lost all their agricultural land and have moved to different forms of occupation, a water body which is a major source of water to the entire village, a temple which is a major community activity generator which forms a base to the village culture. To change the lifestyle of villagers, it is necessary to restore the lost traditions of agriculture, but in a technologically advanced way by introducing urban farming techniques that provide better productivity and which are ecologically sensitive, thereby making the entire village self-sufficient. One form of urban farming techniques One type of urban farming techniques is aquaponics. Aquaponics is a form of agriculture that combines rearing fish in a tank with soilless plant culture. Aquaponics can be used to sustainably raise fresh fish and vegetables for a family to feed a village or to generate profit in a commercial farming venture year-round in any climate. The other benefits of aquaponics is it uses 1/6 of water to grow 8 times more food per acre when compared to traditional forms of agriculture. Since it uses the waste products from the fish, the pesticides and chemicals that are involved in growing crops is eliminated. It is a continuous form of food production. Since it is a soilless way of cultivation, it eliminates the diseases caused by the soil. The relevance of aquaponics to my project is that it mimics the process in a lake, which helps me to educate people about the importance of the lake. The scope of using aquaponics in my project is that aquaponics is a future way of cultivating and is 100% organic, and more people are interested in this form of cultivation. There is no holistic approach to aquaponics in Karnataka which includes all the requirements that is needed to promote aquaponics. The project, when completed, makes the entire village self-sustaining. The selected site satisfies all the requirements of the project. The Hinkal village is on the periphery of Mysore city. The village consists of only built structures and has lost all the agricultural land. The village is culturally rich with 12 different temples which are scattered throughout the village, with one main temple which is adjacent to my site with a Kalyani that is included in my site. The village consists of a lake. The key feature of this lake is that it is a part of the large network of lakes where the overflow water from Hebbar Lake flows through my lake, which is the Devarakere Lake, and then eventually ends up to Lingambudi Lake through a series of stormwater drains which collects runoff water from the entire city and then fills in the lake. The site chosen comes under MODA and is categorized as a civic amenity space, which comes under the category of public and semi-public. This is a study of events that concerns to my site and the village. This is a study of activities in and around my site. My site being a CA land, this large chunk of land houses many educational institutions, community centers and government buildings. My site houses an electricity board building and a community center. The entire village of Hinkle lacks open green spaces, and a stormwater drains runs along two sides of my site. There are two junctions that has to be designed critically for ease of movement and activities. The first junction is at the corner of the site, which is at the junction of Hunsu Road and 80 feet road. During events of the Kalyani, stages are set up adjacent to the Kalyani and events are conducted. The parking for the large crowd that is attracted is along the 80 feet road, which disturbs the activity of the Hunsu Road. Current day, there are illegal parking happening under the tree at this junction. The other junction is the junction that connects the temple and the lake. The temple is a major crowd puller uh, on a daily basis, but during events and festivals, the large amount of crowd has problems with parking, and it also spills over to my site. And the procession and religious activity starts through my site. The user study is categorized into three different parts. The one is the user based on aquaponic culture. The first is the youngsters, the retired people, the school children around the site, the community or group of people who want to take up aquaponics, and the global tourist. The second type is users based on the site location. The first is the people of the village. Uh, the second is the people around the village from different areas. And the third is people from surrounding towns and cities. The fourth is the commuters on the Hunsu Road. And the third type of user-based function based on function are because of the program, that is the research centers, training center and cultivation area and so on. Area flowcharts were created based on the literature study and the case studies. The first is the information center, which has a large display area, a digital screening area, and a hobby area, which is accessed by the visitors and the community. The second is the restaurant, which which sells food that is grown on site. The manufacturing plant, which has a large assembly area, a warehouse, and a processing area to produce equipments and machineries required for aquaponics. A training center with classrooms, workshop, and a small accommodation for people who want to stay in campus and learn about aquaponics. The marketplace is divided into veg and non-veg. To sell it is a daily market to sell the produce every day to the customers. A research center which has laboratories, workshops, and classrooms for any technical advancement experiments that has to be conducted. The cultivation area is an extension to the project where large cultivation greenhouses are created on multiple levels, along with which the food that is produced is processed, is stored, and it is also shipped to different places based on the orders. And every day, and a part of it is sold in the everyday market. A detailed area program is created based on the literature and the case studies, and the total area of the entire site is about 18,000 square meters. A proximity chart is created for different spaces. This is used to generate a zoning map for my site. I've chosen permaculture as my design concept, which serves as the tool to connect agriculture with architecture. Permaculture abbreviates as permanent agriculture. Permaculture is the conscious design and maintenance of agriculturally productive ecosystem that have the diversity, stability, and resilience of natural system. It is a harmonious interaction of landscape and people, producing food, energy, shelter, and other material and non-material needs in a sustainable way. This is a translated concept from permaculture to architecture. The zones of permaculture are used to zone different elements of the design, such as number of users, uh, where the community center has the maximum number of users, whereas the information centers has a few functions and activities. The cultivation center has a very technical activity, whereas the housing becomes a very informal activity. Privacy of spaces. The cultivation area is a very private activity without any public access, whereas the market is completely open for public. Design flexibility. The cultivation center has to be designed in a very technical way for proper usage of the area, whereas the information center has a large flexibility of designing spaces. The second is the vertical zoning derived from the 9 layers of the forest, where the elements which are closer to the ground has easy public access, and the services required are more. The ones which are raised above, such as the research center and the cultivation area, is detached from the public activity, and only restricted people have an access to these structures. This whale runs throughout the entire farm, where small pockets are used for recreational activities such as amphitheater and landscaped areas. Coming to the courtyard concept, there are three different types of courtyards which are used. First is the vertical courtyard. It's a linear courtyard. The linear courtyard, which happens throughout the building, is broken by the floors getting staggered in between, and the entire courtyard is connected in a staggered manner. The other is the normal horizontal courtyard. The third is the sunken courtyard, which adds a different texture on from the ground, and adds a new sense of value to the space, to the courtyard here. The third concept is a site view enhancing concept, where if the entire a large courtyard is created at the center, all the view is focused to the center, and the swales on the either side of the site is neglected. So the central courtyard is kept minimal, and all the crowd that comes to the central courtyard is diverted towards the swales, thereby thereby enhancing the importance given to the swale and the landscape designed there. Through the movement from the central courtyard towards the swale, certain serial vision points are also created. This is the building form concept, where a large chunk of built is broken down into multiple cubes, and which are placed at different levels, which eventually creates multiple terraces which can be accessed from different levels. And certain parts of the terrace can also be used for solar gain. The similar concept is used here, but the blocks are tilted to create a different edge and create a sense of curiosity in the courtyards. The vernacular form of a traditional house inspired. It is inspired from the village, and a traditional and a modern flat roof form. Both of them are combined to create this form, where the sloped roof is used for solar gain and the flat roof is used as a terrace garden. The ratio of the sloped roof to the terrace garden varies based on the function of individual building blocks, and all of them are arranged in similar to this pattern, where it creates irregular courtyards in between. The other concept was Mysore has a lot of archways and gateways at different locations in the city, which creates an identity to that particular point. This also frames the city. So similar elements of frames are used in my design, which creates a sense of identity to that particular point. This also helps in creating the interesting path through the serial vision. The zoning is created from the proximity chart and the privacy zoning. The main entrance to the site is taken from the 80 feet road to reduce the pressure on the Hunchur road. The parking is given along the swale, uh, which makes the swale to be accessed from only one side. This is created to buffer the public activity from the private activity, which is the cultivation area and assembling plant. The main entrance also serves as a service entrance for the trucks, and the loading and unloading bay is placed at the rear end of the site. For visitors, there's a drop-off point or a road that takes you to the basement. You enter the information center and this opens up to a small courtyard which is created by the edges of the building. From here, the semi-public activities such as the hostel, admin, and the training centers happens at the center of the site. The public activities, which is the community center, the market, and the restaurant, happens on the public zoned area of the site. The community center is taken into the site, which gives an access for people from the village and from the main road. An open amphitheater is kept in between the site, which can be accessed from the central courtyard as well as for the people from the lake. The marketplace is zoned here, which facilitates the visitors who take this path to have a look at the vegetables and fruits which are sold. The restaurant is placed just next to the Kalyani for an ease of access for people who just want to enter the restaurant. The dotted line indicates the walking track that is designed, which takes a loop around the lake, which forms a large loop. By this, I am encouraging the movement of people from the lake and along the swale, uh, thereby educating people about the importance of the swale. Another secondary entrance is taken from the Hunsu road, which takes you directly to the basement. This entrance is strictly for the public activities such as the market, community center, and the restaurant. This is a conceptual sketch of the courtyard, which is derived from the edges of the building. The area here where the lake is at a higher level and the site drops about 3 meters. This area is designed as a seamless landscape or is converted into different levels, and plants are grown here, and this is maintained by the community. This is an idea for the amphitheater which can be accessed from the community center here, and a corridor way takes you from the central courtyard to the amphitheater, and the amphitheater faces the lake. This is an idea for a small kids play area which can happen along the swale. These are the few sections for the swale where at different points the section varies. At few places the swale is kept organic, and at a few places it is modified to for the ease of movement of water. This is the proposed site plan. The concept behind the site planning is a small courtyard is created by the adjacent buildings. When the crowd enters the courtyard, they are directed towards the swale through multiple pathways. These pathways have serial vision at certain points which open up their view to the landscaped swales. The large chunk of land here is dedicated for cultivation and assembly unit, which is going to be a future expansion to the project. The entrance is taken from the 80 feet road with the surface parking that happens along this swale. The services for the future expansion of the cultivation area is also through this main entrance. And the loading and unloading bay can happen at the rear end of the site. The information center is combined with the administration area. The research, training and cultivation area happens in this block. The community hobby area happens on the ground floor of this block with the housing and dormitories on top. The community center is placed at the rear end of the site, which can also be accessed. It can also be accessed by the pedestrians from the lake side, and for the people who want to access it from the Hunsur Road, the parking is taken from another entrance here that leads you to the basement, and from there people can come out to two different service lift cores and then can access the community center. The restaurant is placed next to the Kalyani for an ease of access from the main road, and it follows a similar character of the Kalyani, which merges the religious structure with the contemporary design. The information center is placed in the vicinity of the entrance. To give an identity to the campus, it is raised a floor above, and the ground floor is designed as an administration block. The information center is emphasized and is accessed through a series of ramps that takes you to the large exhibit area, and the exhibit happens from the ceiling, walls and on the ramp. The ramp takes you to the next level, and the landings are emphasized with projected greenhouses. The ramp leads you to a digital screening area. The exit is from the first floor and is through a series of stairs passing through a display of aquaponic greenhouse. Research and Training Center is the heart of the campus and it is placed in the center. This structure is a phase of aquaponics in Mysore since it includes training center for educating people, research center for any technical advancement in this field, and cultivation area to produce crops and fish. There are three zones of hierarchy in the structure. One is public, that is for amphitheater and the training center. The semi-public activity for research and workshop, and the third is the private activity or technical activity for cultivation area and laboratories. Since all of this is incorporated in one whole structure, it becomes important to emphasize certain elements of the structure. First is the emphasis for the entrance, that is a void is created to emphasize the entrance for the research center, and a courtyard is used and a ramp is taken down through the courtyard to emphasize the entrance to the training center. The laboratories have a projected greenhouse which emphasizes the experimental activity that happens there. There are the multi-purpose areas and the corridors are emphasized by the jali work. The monotonous facade is broken down by a library which happens at different levels and connects first floor to the second floor. The key feature of the cultivation area being the glazed walls and the sloping roofs are used to emphasize the cultivation area. The training center starts from the basement. As you pass along this main corridor, you get a view of the workshop and the training activity happening in the courtyard, thereby promoting the training of aquaponics. A ramp is used to access the training center, which accommodates a number of classrooms, common areas, and a conference area. And the courtyard is used for as a workshop space. The training center happens on the ground floor as well, with a number of classrooms and workshops that open outside the. There is also a multi-purpose area which can be used as a workshop or a place during events, and it opens out to the public amphitheater. The ground floor is used as an entrance to the research center, which houses admin area and one large cultivation area, which is a main feature in this building. There are multiple landscape pockets throughout the building, and the monotonous corridors are broken by these landscaped pockets. This is the first floor, which includes the semi-private activities of the research and the staff areas, and the private activities of the cultivation area and the laboratories. This is an independent cultivation block which has its own storage and service areas, and it also has a stairway that connects to all the 3 floors, and the floor plates on different floors are staggered to incorporate large span aquaponics systems. Another cultivation area, it is triple height, and it also has a balcony where open cultivation can happen, which also has an overview of the lake. There are 2 sets of laboratories. One is for the research on materials and different equipments that can be incorporated in aquaponics, and the other is for the research on plants, which requires a greenhouse and a balcony. The linearity of the corridor is broken by by landscape and certain floor cutouts. The library is a large cantilevered stairway that connects from first floor to the second floor, which has an overview of the workshop that happens below it. The library opens to the second floor to a balcony. Here there are workshops for equipment and material testing and a multi-purpose area. There are 2 different types of laboratories, one for fish rearing and research on fish, and the other for research on germination of plants. There is a multi-purpose space which can be used as a workshop or to rear fish. From here there is an direct access to the terrace of the library area, where terrace gardening can be cultivated. The housing is placed in the center of the site. It is raised a floor above to give a sense of privacy. The ground floor is an extension of the information center, which is designed as a community hobby area with small pockets of cultivation area and aquarium. The movement through the spaces is in an organic way. The facade is designed to promote aquaponics with a play of solid, void, landscape, and aquarium. The housing is divided into 2 different parts. One is a dormitory, which is accessed through this core. The other is an individual housing, which is accessed through another core. There are cutouts in the houses which serve as a double height space for the ground floor. There are 4 different types of houses at with different levels and different volumes, which are stacked one on top of the other. The roof of the dormitories is sloping with landscape, and it has a corridor on the periphery. The core from the second floor to the floors on top is different. Both the housing and the dormitories are connected with a bridge. The housing has sloping roof at different levels to give a sense of home. The community center is placed at the rear end of the site. The ground floor is a single-height multipurpose hall with pockets of landscape. The first floor is accessed through a ramp, which is a double-height multipurpose space. The facade is a triangulation of materials such as green wall, solid brick masonry, brick jali work, and glass, which creates a play of solid and light in the interiors. The marketplace is placed between the community center and the restaurant. The journey through the marketplace is like a maze with pockets of landscape, which creates a sense of curiosity throughout. There are multiple entrances to the marketplace, which are accentuated by a sloping glazed roof. The market happens in two different levels, and the first level is accessed through a series of stairs. Individual shops have sloping roofs, which creates a pattern as a whole. The restaurant is placed next to the Kalyani for an ease of access. The elevation is designed as an amalgamation of contemporary facade elements and elements inspired from the Kalyani. The idea behind the design was to promote aquaponics by merging the dining spaces with landscape created by aquaponic elements. There are multiple types of dining areas. One to give a sense of street dining, the one inside a greenhouse, small dining cubicles, one which happens on different levels, which is also used to access the first floor. The first floor has different types of dining areas with small aquaponic cultivation pockets. The second floor is accessed through a series of stairs, and a bridge connects different types of dining areas that happen on the second floor.
In the current situation of ever-evolving society, it is essential to address and preserve the culture of villages which are at the brink of extinction. I believe in today's world it is important to integrate architecture with agriculture to improve and promote the necessity of food culture. Through architecture, I aim to bring people together to educate and promote the techniques of aquaponics, thereby nurturing the local traditions and culture of the village and to make it